The sun hangs low and angry over Fort Liberty, baking the North Carolina dust into a red haze that stings the eyes and coats the throat. A rusted blue pickup coughs its last breath and rolls to a stop right in front of the main gate, the same gate that's wrapped in razor wire and guarded like the gates of heaven itself. The truck is old, older than most of the soldiers standing watch, paint peeling like dead skin, bumper held together with baling wire and prayer. When the door creaks open, an even older man steps down slow, deliberate, boots cracked and caked with the same red clay that's been under his fingernails for 68 years. Isaiah Washington stands there in faded overalls, sweat darkening the cloth under his arms, a plain man with a plain face lined deep by hard sun and harder times. He tips his straw hat to the guards like his daddy taught him, polite as Sunday morning, and tells them he's got fresh collards, tomatoes, and sweet corn for the commissary, same as the contract he's honored every week for the last 15 years. But today ain't the same. Two young MPs, rifles slung low, step forward quick, boots kicking dust, palms already up like they're stopping a threat instead of an old farmer. Behind them, a polished black SUV glides up silent as a shark. The back door swings open and out steps General Harlan Brooks, 3 silver stars catching the light like knives. His uniform is pressed so sharp it could cut glass, his face carved from pure contempt, eyes cold the way only a man who's never been told no can make them. He doesn't even look at Isaiah at first. He looks at the truck like it's an insult, like rust and poverty dared roll up to his kingdom. Then his gaze drops to the man himself, slow, measuring, finding him wanting. The general's lips curl into something that ain't quite a smile. Whose bright idea was it to let this rolling scrap heap on my installation? His voice cuts clean through the thick air, every word dripping disdain. The MPs snicker on cue. One of them, baby-faced and eager to please, kicks the front tire hard enough to rattle the hubcap. "Sir, we'll get this trash moved right now," he says, grinning like he just earned a medal himself. Isaiah stands still, doesn't argue, doesn't raise his voice. His eyes drop to the ground the way black men learn to do down south when white men in uniforms start talking loud. The silence stretches, heavy and hot. You can almost hear his heart thumping under that thin cotton shirt. The general steps closer, boots shining, until his shadow falls across Isaiah's cracked leather ones. He leans in, close enough that Isaiah can smell the expensive cologne mixed with hate. "We don't let your kind just wander around here anymore, old man," the general hisses, voice low now, meant only for Isaiah, but loud enough for every soldier at the gate to hear, and remember who's in charge. "Know your place, boy." That word, boy, it hangs in the air like smoke from a burning cross. Isaiah's shoulders stiffen just a little. His hands, rough as tree bark, start to shake, not from fear this time, but from something older, something buried deep under decades of swallowing pride just to survive. The soldiers laugh again, nervous now, sensing the shift, but not understanding it. One of them spits on the ground near Isaiah's boot. Another reaches for the truck door like he's gonna drag the old man out by the collar if he doesn't move fast enough. The general straightens up, satisfied, already turning back to his SUV, already dismissing Isaiah Washington like he's nothing more than dust to be swept away. That's when Isaiah moves, slow, real slow. His trembling right hand slides into the pocket of those overalls. The MPs snap their rifles up instantly, fingers twitching near triggers. The general freezes mid-turn, smirk still glued to his face, waiting for the old man to pull out some sad excuse, a permit, an apology, anything that proves he knows he don't belong. Isaiah's fingers close around something small and square. He pulls it out like he's pulling it from the marrow of his bones. A little velvet box, worn soft at the edges, the kind of box that holds something sacred. The laughter dies. The gate goes dead quiet, except for the wind hissing through the razor wire. Isaiah opens the box with hands that suddenly ain't shaking no more. Inside, resting on faded satin, is the Medal of Honor, the highest honor America can give a soldier. The blue ribbon is sun-bleached and frayed, the star itself dulled by time and blood long dried, but there ain't a soul alive who don't recognize it on sight. The general's smirk collapses like a house of cards in a hurricane. His mouth opens, but nothing comes out. His eyes, those cold, cruel eyes, go wide as dinner plates. One of the MPs actually stumbles back a step, rifle dipping toward the ground. Another lets out a sound, like somebody punched him in the gut. Isaiah doesn't say a word. He don't need to. That medal says everything. It says Vietnam, 1970. It says he carried 3 wounded boys through a rice paddy under machine gun fire while the world exploded around him. It says he came home missing half his hearing and all of his welcome. It says he's been called boy by better men than Harlan Brooks and lived to tell about it. The camera would linger here, on his face, calm now, ancient and unbreakable, then slide slow to the general, watching every drop of arrogance drain out like blood from a stuck pig. The silence stretches so long it hurts. Somewhere a crow calls. Dust swirls around their boots, red as the clay. Isaiah still works with those same heroes' hands. The general tries to speak, throat working, but the words stick. His stars don't shine so bright no more. The MPs stare at the ground now, ashamed without knowing exactly why. Isaiah closes the box gentle, like he's laying a child to rest. He slips it back into his pocket, right over his heart where it's lived for 50 years. Then he looks up, meets the general's eyes for the first time, steady, quiet, deadly. "I believe my contract is still good, sir," he says, voice soft as cotton but strong as iron. "Vegetables are in the back. They goin' bad in this heat." He don't wait for permission. He just walks around the frozen general, climbs back into that battered truck, and starts the engine. It coughs once, twice, then catches. The MPs jump aside like they're scared to even touch the door now. Isaiah shifts into gear. The truck rolls forward slow, past men who can't look him in the eye, past a general who finally understands what real power feels like when it don't need to scream. As the pickup disappears down the long base road, kicking up one last cloud of red dust, the camera holds on General Brooks, standing alone in the middle of his kingdom, 3 stars dull now, face pale as death. Somewhere inside him something just broke, and it ain't never gonna get fixed. Because some men wear their rank on their collar. Others carry their honor in a little velvet box, quiet as you please, waiting for the day the world remembers who they really are. And respect, real respect. It don't care how many stars you got. It only cares what you did when nobody was looking, and whether you still got the heart to stand tall when they finally do. The sun bleeds out behind the pine trees, turning Fort Liberty the color of dried blood. Inside a windowless room that smells like bleach and old fear, Isaiah Washington sits on a metal chair bolted to the floor. His wrists still carry the red rings from the handcuffs they locked on him hours ago, cuffs they said were just procedure, while their eyes said something uglier. Fluorescent lights buzz overhead like angry hornets. The only sound is the slow drip of a leaky pipe, and the old man's breathing, steady, too steady for a man who just got treated like a criminal on the same soil he once defended with his life. Boots echo down the hallway, sharp and fast, the sound of a man who ain't used to waiting on nobody. The door slams open so hard it bounces off the wall. General Harlan Brooks fills the doorway, chest heaving, face twisted like he swallowed something sour, and it's eating him alive from the inside. 2 colonels trail behind him, eyes on the floor, scared to even breathe too loud. Brooks doesn't sit. He plants his hands on the table and leans in until Isaiah can smell the bourbon on his breath, even though it ain't happy hour yet. "You got some nerve, old man," Brooks spits, voice shaking with rage. He's trying to dress up as authority. "Rolling up to my gate with that dusty truck and that dustier medal like it still means something. You think because they pinned some ribbon on you 50 years ago you get to disrespect me in front of my men?" His finger stabs the air an inch from Isaiah's face. "I wasn't even born when you were crawling through mud in Vietnam. Times changed, boy. That medal don't open doors no more. It don't buy respect, and it sure as hell don't make you my equal." The room goes colder than the air conditioning can explain. Isaiah lifts his eyes slow. Those eyes have stared down death in triple canopy jungle, have watched friends die screaming, have seen villages burn. They don't blink now. When he speaks, his voice is soft, low, the kind of quiet that makes loud men nervous. I wasn't asking to be your equal, General, Isaiah says, every word measured like he's laying bricks. I was asking to be treated like a man who kept his word. Contract says I deliver on Tuesdays. I delivered. You're the one who changed the times. Brooke slams both palms on the table so hard the metal jumps. Don't you lecture me, he roars, veins popping in his neck. I run the tightest ship in the army. I decide who comes and goes, and I decided you're done. He straightens up, smoothing his uniform like he's wiping Isaiah's existence off his hands. Your contract is cancelled effective immediately. Your payments frozen pending investigation. And tomorrow morning, every gate on this base will have your picture with the words "security risk" stamped across it. You'll be lucky if they let you sell tomatoes at the county flea market after I'm finished. He turns to leave, then pauses, throwing the last knife over his shoulder. Take that medal to the pawn shop, hero. See what it gets you now. The door slams again. The colonels scurry after him like whipped dogs. Isaiah sits alone again, staring at the cinderblock wall where somebody once scratched "Jesus saves" with a fingernail. The cuffs are gone, but the weight is heavier than ever. Word races through the barracks faster than gossip ever moved back on the block. By chow time, every soldier on Fort Liberty knows. The old black farmer who used to bring the best greens on the East Coast just got dragged through the mud by the general himself. The same general who makes lieutenants cry in staff meetings. The same general who banned rap music in the gym because it was disruptive to good order and discipline. Young black troops gather in stairwells and bathroom stalls, whispering, hearts cracking open. That could have been my granddaddy, one private says, voice shaking. Man fought for this country and they treat him like he stole something. Another private, barely 19, stares at his boots. My recruiter showed me a picture of that medal when I signed up, told me that's what real heroes look like. Now they saying the hero ain't welcome here. Nobody answers. They just look away when the first sergeant walks by, scared to even breathe the wrong way. Night drops hard and sudden, the way it does in the south. Isaiah stands outside the main gate again, same spot where everything went wrong this morning. Only now the sky is black and mean, and cold rain starts falling in sheets, slapping the asphalt like it's mad too. His truck sits loaded with the same vegetables nobody wanted, collards wilting, tomatoes going soft. The guards won't meet his eyes anymore. One of them, the same baby-faced MP who kicked his tire earlier, now stands soaked and miserable, pretending to check IDs that ain't there. Isaiah pulls his old field jacket tighter. Water streams off the brim of his hat. He reaches into his pocket and takes out that little velvet box again, rain beads on the faded ribbon. He opens it slow, like he's checking to see if the medal is still real, if any of this day actually happened. Lightning flashes, lights up the star for one bright second, then thunder rolls over him like artillery he ain't heard in 50 years. Tears come then, not loud, not dramatic, just quiet rivers cutting through the rain on his cheeks. He presses the medal to his chest, right over his heart that's been broken more times than he can count. His lips move, no sound, maybe a prayer, maybe a curse, maybe just the names of boys who never came home from that war, so this general could stand here tonight and call him boy. The camera would linger here, on this old warrior in the pouring rain, soaked to the bone, clutching the only proof the country ever loved him back. You can feel the weight of every year he carried in silence, every thank you he never got, every door that closed when he came home brown and broke instead of white and whole. The injustice sits on his shoulders, heavier than any rucksack he ever humped through the jungle. A young black sergeant watches from the guard shack, fist clenched so tight his knuckles glow. Something is burning in his eyes, something that looks a lot like tomorrow. Isaiah closes the box, slips it back over his heart, and climbs into the truck. The engine turns over on the third try, weak but stubborn just like him. He pulls away slow, taillights disappearing into the storm, leaving muddy tracks that the rain starts washing away like they were never there. But some things don't wash away. Some things only get sharper in the rain. Because disrespect has a way of waking sleeping giants. And somewhere on that base tonight, young hearts are learning exactly what their granddaddies meant when they said the fight never really ended. It just changed uniforms. The real war ain't always in some far-off jungle. Sometimes it's right here at home, at the gate, in the rain, when a man who gave everything is told he still ain't enough. But giants don't stay asleep forever. And medals, real medals, don't lose their weight just because some men forgot how heavy honor is. Tomorrow's coming. And somebody's gonna have to answer for tonight. The morning sun cuts through the pines like Judgment Day, sharp and unforgiving. 3,000 soldiers file into the post auditorium, boots stomping, rifles slung, confusion hanging thick in the air. Nobody knows why they're here. Rumor says the general lost his mind yesterday. Rumor says an old farmer made him look small. Rumor says somebody's about to pay. The seats fill fast. Young brothers sit shoulder to shoulder with country boys from Iowa, with kids from the Bronx, with daughters of sharecroppers and sons of factory workers. They all feel it coming, something heavy about to drop. Up on the stage, the lights are hot and white. General Harlan Brooks stands tall in his dress blues, medals shining like armor, but his eyes are bloodshot and his jaw keeps twitching. He grips the podium so hard his knuckles go pale. Behind him, 2 MPs march Isaiah Washington across the wooden floor like he's a prisoner on trial. Isaiah's overalls are clean but wrinkled from the rain last night. His straw hat is gone. His wrists still carry faint red lines from the cuffs. He walks slow, head high, eyes straight ahead, like he's walking into fire again and already knows how it ends. The general snatches the microphone, voice booming through the speakers loud enough to rattle teeth. Soldiers of Fort Liberty, he starts, forcing that fake calm leaders use when they're scared. Yesterday, an individual attempted to gain unauthorized access to this installation using a questionable claim of military honors. He turns and points at Isaiah like he's pointing at dirt. This man paraded around with a Medal of Honor that raises serious questions. In today's army, we verify everything. We don't just take some dusty old box at face value. I brought him here today so you can all see what happens when people try to play games with our sacred symbols. Laughter ripples through a few of the officers up front, nervous, eager to please. The general feeds off it. He's rolling now. I mean, come on, soldiers, look at him. Look at that truck he drives. You really think this? He pauses, sneers. This farmer held off a North Vietnamese regiment. You really think he earned the same ribbon that Audie Murphy wore? Give me a break. That medal probably came from eBay or some pawn shop in Fayetteville. The auditorium goes colder than winter. You can hear breathing stop. A couple lieutenants shift in their seats, suddenly unsure whose side the room is on. The general keeps going, voice rising, spit flying. I will not have the integrity of this command disrespected by fairy tales and lies. That's when it happens. In the front row, an old white man with hair like snow and legs that shake when he stands pushes himself up slow. His uniform jacket is 50 years out of date, Vietnam-era green with faded jump wings. His right hand comes up trembling, but the salute he snaps is perfect, sharp as the day he learned it in 1967. The auditorium sucks in one giant breath. Another veteran rises 2 rows back, black man, missing an arm, prosthesis gleaming under the lights. He salutes with his left hand, eyes locked on Isaiah, then another, and another. Old men, young men who weren't even born when Khe Sanh burned, women in uniform who heard the stories from their daddies, they all stand. Boots scrape. Chairs creak. 3,000 soldiers rise like a wave until the entire room is on its feet, a living wall of respect. Hands snap to brows in perfect unison. The sound of all that silence hits harder than any explosion ever could. General Brooks freezes. His mouth is still open mid-sentence. The microphone shakes in his hand. From the side door, the base historian, a nervous captain with glasses thick as Coke bottles, walks out carrying a leather folder. His voice cracks when he starts reading, but he reads anyway. Private First Class Isaiah Jacob Washington, Company C, 1st Battalion, 9th Marines. Citation to accompany the award of the Medal of Honor. Every word lands like a hammer on steel. On 21 February 1968, during the siege of Khe Sanh, Private Washington's platoon was overrun on Hill 861. When his lieutenant fell mortally wounded, Private Washington single-handedly held the North Slope against repeated human wave assaults for 6 hours, expending all ammunition, and then fighting hand-to-hand until reinforcements arrived. He then carried his dying lieutenant 3 miles through intense enemy fire to the aid station. His extraordinary heroism and devotion saved the lives of 37 Marines. The captain's voice breaks on the last line. You could hear a pin drop on carpet. The microphone slips from General Brooks' fingers. It hits the stage with a hollow thud that echoes like a gunshot. His face drains of color until he looks like a ghost wearing a uniform. His stars suddenly look cheap, like tin stuck on with glue. He turns toward Isaiah, mouth working, but no sound comes out. His eyes dart across that sea of salutes, looking for one friendly face, one person still sitting, one person still on his side. There ain't none. Isaiah stands quiet in the middle of the stage. He don't smile. He don't gloat. He just looks out over the crowd, eyes finding every young black face shining with tears they ain't ashamed to let fall. He sees the fists clenched in new pride, sees shoulders straighten that been bent too long. He sees little brothers and sisters who might never have to bow their heads again because today they learned what real power looks like when it finally stands up straight. A single tear rolls down Isaiah's cheek, slow and proud. He lifts his right hand, old and scarred and steady now, and returns every salute in the room. The gesture is simple, humble, unbreakable. General Brooks takes one step back, then another, until his heels hit the curtain. His chest rises and falls too fast. Something inside him just shattered, and everybody hears it break. The camera would hold on that moment forever. An old black farmer in overalls surrounded by thousands of warriors saluting him, while the man who tried to bury him stands small and alone under lights that suddenly feel too bright. Power didn't just flip. It got reborn right there on that stage, born in silence and respect, and truth too big for any one man to carry alone. Because some things can't be bought, can't be faked, can't be cancelled with a signature or frozen with a phone call. Some things only get proven when the whole world finally stands up and bears witness. And dignity, real dignity, don't need a microphone. It just needs one moment when good people remember who they are and who they're supposed to honor. That moment is now. And General Harlan Brooks is gonna carry the weight of it for the rest of his life. The auditorium air is thick enough to chew. 3,000 soldiers stand frozen in that ocean of saluted respect, arms high, eyes locked on the old farmer who never asked for any of this. General Harlan Brooks stands alone at the edge of the stage like a man staring into a grave he dug himself. His chest rises and falls too fast. The microphone lies on the floor where it fell, still rolling in little circles, squealing soft feedback nobody dares move to stop. Sweat beads on his forehead and runs down temples that have never known fear until this very minute. You can almost hear his heart trying to hammer its way out of those perfectly pressed blues. He takes one step forward, then another. The sound of his polished shoes on wood is the only noise in the whole building. He stops 2 feet from Isaiah Washington, close enough to see every line carved into that proud brown face by sun and sorrow, and 70 years of keeping his mouth shut when he wanted to scream. The general's hand rises slow, trembling like a leaf in a storm, until his fingertips touch the brim of his cover. He snaps the sharpest salute of his entire career, elbow locked, thumb straight, palm down perfect, the kind of salute they teach you on day 1 at West Point, and you forget the day you pin on your first star. He holds it until his arm shakes harder. Tears spill over his lashes, big, hot, ashamed tears that cut tracks through the sweat on his cheeks. "Private Washington," he says, and his voice cracks wide open, raw as a wound. "On behalf of this command, on behalf of every soldier who stood silent yesterday while you were wronged, I beg your forgiveness." The words hang there, ugly and beautiful at the same time. I disrespected a genuine hero of this nation. Worse, I disrespected myself and everything these stars are supposed to mean. His knees buckle. The general, 3-star, base commander, terror of staff meetings, drops to one knee right there on the stage, head bowed, cover clutched to his chest like a little boy who just broke his mama's favorite vase. A gasp rolls through the auditorium like thunder moving closer. Then it happens. Front row first, a young black specialist sinks to her knees, tears streaming. Beside her, a white sergeant from Alabama follows. Row by row, like dominoes made of pride and shame, 3,000 men and women lower themselves until the entire floor is a sea of bowed heads and bent knees before the farmer in faded overalls. The only man still standing is Isaiah Washington, small and straight and unbreakable, looking out over all of them with eyes soft as mercy. He steps forward, slow, boots creaking. He places one weathered hand on the general's shoulder. The touch is gentle, father to son. "Rise up, son," Isaiah says, voice low but carrying clear to the back row without any microphone. "Get up off your knee." The general looks up, face wet, confused, like he don't know how to stand anymore. Isaiah helps him, strong hand under the elbow, pulling a 3-star general to his feet like it's nothing. "That medal you keep talking about," Isaiah continues, soft enough that everybody leans in to hear, "it never was about me. It was about the boys I carried and the ones I couldn't. Medals don't make the man, General. How you treat folks when the cameras ain't rolling and nobody's clapping, that's what makes the man." The silence breaks then, not with noise but with something deeper. Soldiers start wiping eyes on sleeves, noses sniffle. Somebody in the back row whispers, "Amen," and it spreads like wildfire until the whole auditorium is breathing one word together. General Brooks clears his throat 3 times before sound comes out. "Your contract is reinstated, Mr. Washington, effective immediately, triple the original rate. And starting next week, your story, your full citation, will be required reading in every leadership course on this installation. Every new lieutenant, every new sergeant, every private who thinks rank is the same as righteousness, they'll learn what real courage looks like." His voice cracks again. "And they'll learn what happens when you forget it." Isaiah just nods once, simple and final, like a judge banging a gavel made of grace. An hour later, the sun is high and hot again, burning away yesterday's rain. Isaiah's old truck rattles toward the main gate one last time, bed still loaded with collards and tomatoes. Nobody dared turn away today. But the road is different now. Soldiers line both sides, hundreds of them, maybe thousands, stretching clear to the horizon. Every uniform crisp, every back straight, every right hand raised in salute and held steady. Nobody moves, nobody speaks. The only sound is that tired engine coughing its way through, slow, like it's scared to break the moment. Isaiah keeps both hands on the wheel, eyes forward, jaw tight against the lump in his throat. He don't wave. Heroes don't need to wave. He just drives, past young sisters with tears shining proud, past old veterans who remember jungles and fire, past white kids and brown kids and black kids who will never forget this day. The salutes never waver, not once, until the truck turns the bend and the red dust swallows it whole. The camera pulls back slow, higher and higher, until the base looks small and the road looks long and the man in the truck is just a speck moving steady toward home. And if you listen close, underneath the engine noise and the cicadas starting their evening song, you can almost hear the quiet truth settling over Fort Liberty like evening dew. Never judge a book by its dusty cover. Never mistake silence for weakness or worn overalls for worthlessness. The quiet brother hauling vegetables might just be the bravest soul you ever disrespected. Real power don't ride in staff cars with flags on the fenders. Real power sits high in the chest of a man who knows who he is even when the whole world forgets. Respect ain't demanded with rank or bought with money or shouted through microphones. Respect is earned in the dark, carried in silence, and revealed when grace finally gets its turn to speak. Isaiah Washington never asked for knees to bend or tears to fall. He just asked to be treated like a man. And in the end, that's exactly what he taught every soul on that base how to do. Treat every man, woman, and child like their story might be bigger than you can see, like their heart might have carried more than you'll ever know. Because dignity don't need stars on the shoulder. Dignity just needs a chance to look you in the eye and remind you who you were supposed to become. And some salutes don't end when the arm comes down. Some salutes keep echoing long after the track is gone, long after the dust settles, long after the lesson finally sinks into the bone. That's the salute that changed everything. And it started with one old farmer who never forgot what America promised him, even when America forgot him. Hold your head high, family. You never know who's watching or whose life you might straighten just by staying true.